Okay, this is a production meeting, our first production meeting for our Unit 9 project, and we are going to discuss our two ideas. Alright, for idea 1 we have a spaghetti western, a comedic parody. For idea 2 we're focusing around a Portal futuristic type short film that's going to be comedic again, more slapstick with a bit of a light-hearted violence. So let's open up the discussion. Who votes for what idea and why? Who would like to go first?
Okay.
Tammy's going first.
Okay, I personally like the first idea because it just sounds more interesting, more catchy. It's like more audiences. Is that the word? No. Audiences will enjoy it more. That's what I think. Better than idea 2. Why? Because there's 4 protagonists and it all just comes together and it just sounds interesting. And it's got a bit of comedy in it, so.
Would you like to interject?
So I'm more along the lines of the second one. I think
The Portal idea.
yeah, the Portal idea. So I think the Portal idea has a lot more that we can refine, and it's less of like it's less about having to write the comedy, and it's more about the comedy being part of the prop. And I think that's what we're working on. Like we need the prop to be quite active in the thing, and since that's what the unit's based on. And I think having a prop that's so relevant in the storyline that I think that's probably better to use, and I think it would be better for our topic, as well as the fact that it sort of writes the comedy itself, in the sense that you can just make jokes about the fact that there are portals and not the fact that we're trying to write something that's like a western, and we're basically, it's all to do with the comedy that we're writing instead of the comedy of the prop sort of thing. But that's just sort of my idea.
Okay. Correct.
I prefer the western idea because I think there's a lot more, like it's a lot more thought out, and like the characters are much more developed than the others, and I think it's going to be a lot easier for us to film and personally for me to edit. And also, like you said about the props, I still think the props in this one are going to be used like a lot because obviously they're their weapons and what they are as cowboys. So I think at the same time this is still heavily revolved around props, and I would just prefer to do the western one.
Okay, for my idea, or what I feel would be the best, taking on what Joe said, that the main goal of the unit was to build a prop and a story around the unit. It's a good idea and everything, but I'm really just looking at the practicality of it. With filming it, it is going to be difficult because we're going to have to be doing a lot of instances where hands are going to have to go through solid, look to appear to go through solid objects if they were to come out as to come through the other side of the portal, and hands will have to appear through. A hand would have to come out of a wall, essentially. That's what that's what I'm thinking of. Like, it's a good idea, but to work around it, we're going to have to sacrifice a lot of camera shots and the camera angles, which might take away from the comedy a little bit, especially in the fight scene, because we're not going to be able to show someone punching someone through a wall. We're not going to be able to do that, and it kind of and the whole thing with the portal idea is it's like, yeah, it's the portal guns are the story. That's why it's a strong point, but around that we're not going to be able to create like a backstory as in depth as we have with the protagonist for the western. And the western, the weapons and etc. seem to blend in more with the story, because it's supposed props in the definition when we were looking at it earlier, it was for the props are there to enhance the story or make it more believable for the audience. And the fact that there's going to be multiple props that are going to be used and they're not as big as, let's say, the portal guns, etc. And I know even we're making something big as well, That's to add to the storyline. There's going to be multiple things that are going to be adding in the Western, but with the portal idea, it's just going to be the portal guns. That's why I'm going to go towards more of the Western idea.
Do you just want to quickly do a summary of the Western idea?
Okay, the Western idea is a parody film of a spaghetti Western. There are 4 protagonists. One of the protagonist A is a serious badass type of gunman, parody of Clint Eastwood, but he's a bandito or a bandit. Protagonist B is a stupid kind of like dunce person with a bow and arrow, and makes stupid.
Does stupid things. And
Just does stupid things, etc. Like he's, before I go into that, protagonist C is OCD, pretends to be cool, but he's a wimp. The protagonist D is a female sheriff, but like vulgar behaviour. She's a brute, and those are all the characters. And the story is, they all get wind of a loot buried there. Like the bandit gets wind that there's loot buried there. The protagonist C gets wind that there's loot buried there, because the way the story works is that protagonist C owes money to protagonist A. And the sheriff gets wind that there's money there and the bandit's going there. So she's going to take up an opportunity to take out the bandit. And protagonist B is there because he's just there. He just shows up randomly. He's just a wandering idiot. As far as the props that are going to be made, we are going to be using a wooden style toy horse as they are travelling. It's just to make it seem more silly. We have revolvers and a bow and arrow that are going to be used. The way the story is going to end, the stupid guy wins, essentially. He fires an arrow at the sheriff. The sheriff falls on the ground. Fires a shot at the nervous guy, hitting him in the foot. The nervous guy freaks out, shoots the bandit fellow, and the bandit fellow is mortally wounded. He's just mortally wounded, so he's still alive. Whilst the sheriff is just like shot, shoots the nervous fellow, but when she hits the ground, she dies. But when the wimp shoots the sheriff, not the sheriff, the bandit's not like. He's not dead. He's able to get one more shot off, and he shoots the wimp. But all those 3 people die, whilst the stupid guy is in the process of running off, but he runs into a rake, so it knocks him out. Or he steps on a rake, it whacks him in the head, and knocks him out. And then when he wakes up, everyone's dead, and he freaks out and runs off, leaving the treasure. So the treasure has become unclaimed.
So another thing I just want to bring up, casting in this one, we're looking at casting 4 people.
Yes.
Right. And casting in the other one, we're looking at casting 2 people.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to get to casting on this one really quickly.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because we can't just go without all 4 people. Because as soon as one person's not in it, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, so the plan is we're going to write the script as soon as possible and put it through drafts to an acceptable standard, and then once we go through that, once that's done, we're going to go through the selection process of cast.
Yep.
Right.
Cool.
I believe if we get down and work hard on the script and everything, we could get it done in maybe a week or a week with all the drafts.
Yeah.
Okay? Is everyone agreed on that?
Yep.
Joe?
I'm just thinking about I'm fine with the idea of doing idea 1, but it's just I'm trying to think about in the long term of things, being able to do all the props and do all of this stuff in the space that we've got given, and the casting and all that. I'm just I'm just trying to work it out in my head as well. But I'm fine doing idea 1.
Okay, so we're all agreed.
Yeah.
Alright.